Euromaxx highlights. And here's your host, Megan Lee.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to our highlight show with the best picks of the week. Here's a look at what's coming up. Flying high, why ultralight gliders are still a hit with pilots. Stylish trends spotlighting the great wallpaper revival. And island charm, why Jersey is a popular tourist destination. London is a city filled with tradition and diversity, but one of the places where tradition still looms quite large is Savile Row, the famous street in London's West End where city gents buy their custom-made suits. Well, for over 2 centuries, this has typically been a male domain, until now. Recently, designer Catherine Sargent opened up a shop here. Now, the question is whether she will be the exception or the rule.
London's Savile Row is often referred to as the Golden Mile of tailoring. For more than 270 years, the tailors here have been turning men into city gentlemen. But this hitherto exclusively male preserve is now being encroached upon by women. The former seamstresses or assistants to male master tailors are now beginning to challenge the status quo. And leading the charge is 41-year-old Catherine Sargent, the first woman to open a bespoke tailor's on Savile Row.
When I joined in the mid-90s, there wasn't a lot of young people in the trade anyway, and tailoring wasn't very fashionable. And it was traditionally a man's profession, you know, like most professions were male. It's just one of the last ones that women have been drawn to, really.
Sargent says men don't mind women taking their measurements. Her customers are only concerned about the quality of her work. And it was her attention to detail that first landed her a job as a master tailor before she went on to set up her own shop.
You can't just come from nowhere and open a shop here and make suits. You need to be able to know what you're doing to make a success. So for me, it's not about this is a successful thing that's just happened overnight. This is a culmination of 20 years hard work in learning and practicing the art of true bespoke tailoring.
And she's not frightened off by her male competitors. On the contrary, Sargent keeps in close touch with long-established stores such as Henry Poole, the street's oldest bespoke tailors. The majority of people who work here are still men.
Savile Row will probably change in the sense that you will find probably more females doing exactly what Catherine has done. If they adhere to how Catherine has done it through hard work, hard graft, but with a charming personality attached to that, then I'd see no reason why they shouldn't have their name above the door as well.
But at the moment, Sargent's presence is creating quite a stir.
Well, I think this has been a male bastion for a very long time, and women seem to be taking over everywhere else in the world, so maybe time for tailoring to let go as well.
Savile Row has been really male-dominated for such a long time, so I think it's nice to see young women especially getting into the row and making the most of it.
It's going to be more challenging for them because they will know they will introduce different line, different style for men.
One day, Rachel Singer hopes she will enjoy the same kind of success as Catherine Sargent. She's currently studying at Savile Row Academy, learning the ins and outs of bespoke tailoring. Here, women already outnumber men.
What I love about the idea of entering this trade is that everything you make is different. Different cloth, different shape, different details, and that's what I find really appealing about working in bespoke clothes or bespoke, bespoke fashion, is that you can't predict what's coming next.
Rachel's instructor says women are increasingly replacing men because men aren't as keen to go into the profession anymore. They'd rather become fashion designers.
The females that are applying at Savile Row Academy, they want to become tailors. It is not a matter of wanting to become fashion designers. They want to become tailors, and they want to become master tailors.
But that's not the only change afoot in Savile Row. Up to now, only 10% of customers here were women. But they make up around a third of Sargent's customers. Women's wear is more time-consuming and complex.
Menswear has had rules in styling for tailoring, so 2-button, 3-button, double-breasted, and you kind of would follow that, but it's less rigid so now. And then with women's wear, it's kind of evolved from menswear, but anything goes in terms of styling.
Whoever the customers are, Catherine Sargent would like Savile Row to remain the top address when it comes to tailoring. And it certainly looks as if she's going to give men there a run for their money.
He was called the Glider King. German aviation pioneer Otto Lilienthal was the first person to make well-documented gliding flights. His groundbreaking experiments paved the way to machines taking to the air. Well, exactly 125 years ago, Lilienthal tested his first set of wings on a hill right here in Berlin. Well, his tireless pursuit of flying would eventually cost him his life. But his spirit lives on today in pilots who continue to fly ultralight gliders.
Wolfgang Labuda is never happier than when he can take to the air. He's the director of an aircraft manufacturing company, and today he's flying a new Aerolite 120 for the first time, an ultra-lightweight aircraft. He's at an airfield in the German state of Mecklenburg-Vorpommern that's having an open house today. His wife Tilda is following everything from the ground. The colours look great, she says. Equipped with a small engine and fuel tank, the aircraft trundles along at 90 kilometers per hour. It can fly for up to 2 hours at a time.
The great thing is you're at the mercy of the elements, and on the basis of what you've learned, you then have to control the aircraft to ensure you end up safely on the ground. It's a challenge, but it's fun. There's always a bit of adrenaline involved, a great feeling.
His Greenbird, as it's called, is one of a number of aircraft on display here, but it's attracting by far the most attention. It's an uncomplicated design, and anyone with a pilot's license for lightweight recreational aircraft is allowed to fly it.
I find it fascinating that they can all get airborne with no problem at all, whether it's the big heavy airplanes or lightweight aircraft like this one.
It's cool to glide through the air and then look down and see all the earth below, and everything looks so beautiful.
When I get into a plane, I can just switch off and look down at the world. You get a whole different perspective and a sense of freedom.
Engineer Otto Lilienthal wrote aviation history 125 years ago in 1891, when he became the first person to fly 20 meters through the air in a self-built glider. Many more flights followed. Lilienthal's home in Anklam in Mecklenburg-Vorpommern has dedicated a museum to the German aviation pioneer and shows reproductions of his flying machines. He constructed 18 different gliders from materials such as willow rod, bamboo, linen and wire. He was inspired by the way birds fly, storks in particular. Lilienthal made his first attempts at flying at age 43. Just 5 years later, he died from injuries sustained when his glider crash-landed.
Otto Lilienthal cracked the secret of the wings. From today's perspective, when you look at what modern planes still owe to Lilienthal, then it's the physics of the wings. We still describe the wings of an Airbus using the same terms Lilienthal came up with 130 years ago.
Back to Wolfgang Labuda. His company Vierwerk is located just 40 kilometers as the crow flies from Otto Lilienthal's birthplace. The Aerolite 120 is assembled here by hand. Built on a frame composed of aviation-grade aluminium, the plane's wings are covered with high-tech polyester fiber from the United States. Vierwerk has created 12 different designs.
It's a great feeling. You open a box, take out the individual parts and work with them. You must be sure that what you're doing is right, and in the end you sit in the thing and fly it.
Seeing the world from a bird's-eye view is something that also fascinates his wife, Tilda. Though she doesn't have a pilot's license herself, she's long been entranced by the magic of flying.
We have great respect for Otto Lilienthal and his pioneering vision of learning how to fly. We're carrying that on a little with our style of flying. People can still be hungry for adventure without being reckless.
The Aerolite and Otto Lilienthal's models have in common that they offer pilots that thrill of adventure. But these days, planes are more than a hobby for thrill seekers. They have, of course, become an essential mode of transport as well.
When I was growing up, wallpaper and wall-to-wall carpeting were always a must when it came to decorating your home. Anything else was simply out of the question. But then, all of a sudden, natural colors on the walls and hardwood floors were all the rage. However, thanks to the cyclical nature of design, wallpaper is making a big comeback. So we wanted to see what bold statements are being made with this blast from the past.
Fancy some new wallpaper? It's a tough choice. There are so many different types to pick from. Thomas Bates has decided to let his creativity run riot in his house near the western German city of Düsseldorf. He's decorated 5 rooms with unusual and at times costly wallpaper. A special highlight on the bathroom walls, wallpaper designed to look like stingray skin.
I never thought I'd put up wallpaper. As a young adult, I only ever had wood chip wallpaper. But when I redecorated my house, I realized that it could be a real design element.
Mark Neise is a wallpaper expert. He has hundreds of types on offer in his shop in Düsseldorf. From pop culture or retro themes to Baroque and Art Deco patterns, his collection contains some real treasures.
This one is from my private collection. It's a historical piece from Japan. It's at least 100 or 120 years old.
The designer and interior decorator has a collection of about 14,000 different types from all over the world.
Another gem? Metallic wallpaper.
He often sells wallpaper made from unusual materials, like hand-painted silk, sand, vinyl, glass beads, or crystals. Back in the 1950s and 60s, Germans were crazy about wallpaper.
Wissen Sie, dieses Tapetenbuch ist eine wahre Fundgrube. Neue Tapeten, neue Tapeten, neue Tapeten.
In den 70er Jahren war es ja einmal so, dass
in
man
the 70s, people wanted to show off their wealth.
Dass man Geld hatte und deswegen tapezierte man.
So they'd put up a new wallpaper every 5 years or so.
Und damals tapezierte man allerdings.
Back then, floral themes and crazy patterns were popular.
Crazy Sachen.
In the 80s, white walls became popular. People would put up wood chip or glass fiber wallpaper and then paint it white.
Nowadays, wood chip is out. Striking patterns and colors are back in, whether throughout the entire apartment or, as is common in Germany, on just one wall. In Britain and France, wallpaper never really went out of fashion. British paint and wallpaper manufacturers Farrow & Ball have been in business for 70 years. It's evident from their Düsseldorf showroom that bold choices are back in style.
It's no wonder there are so many blogs on other people's living rooms. And this new interest in bright colors means people are also keen on patterns. And ultimately, on wallpaper.
Floral patterns and bold colors have been a hit in France and Britain, and now they're becoming popular in Germany.
Sometimes you just need a change. You've had enough of the pattern. The nice thing about interior design is that you can always do something new. By putting up a new wallpaper, you can give a room a whole new vibe.
Und auch dem Raum sofort auch eine andere Widmung geben kannst damit.
There are certainly enough kinds of wallpaper to choose from, but deciding which one you want could be quite a challenge.
Computers have certainly come a long way since their invention 75 years ago. The more years that go by, the smaller the machines become. Well, the current trend is mini computers in your clothes. So now you can look forward to putting on a smart suit or dress to match your smartphone and watch.
A computer is hidden inside this dress. It controls an LED display which lights up in accordance with the wearer's heartbeat. Sensors monitor the pulse. The data is sent to a microcontroller which forwards the signal to the LED display. Berlin-based designer Lina Vassong created the dress. For 2 years now, she's been working to fuse fashion and technology, and she's interested in having clothes react to the human body.
It's something that's normally not visible. Our muscles are constantly working, but we don't realize how. And now we can start wearing something that shows what our muscles are doing. That's exciting.
Intelligent clothing is all the rage. Dutch designer Bora Akkersdik has developed a high-tech overall that turns humans into walking Wi-Fi hotspots. This garment is fitted with solar panels. Wearers can use the power generated to charge their cell phones. Another example of functional high-tech clothing. It's the creation of Dutch designer Pauline van Dongen. She's named her clothing line Wearable Solar and wants to make high-tech fashion mainstream.
I think still also for quite a lot of people it's a far-fetched scenario. So we need to show them what the potential is and what it can mean to them. Like in the beginning of the time that the computer came or the mobile phone, people also didn't realize what it could mean to them. And by now we can't do without them, and I think the same will happen with wearable tech.
75 years ago, portable computers were unthinkable. In 1941, Konrad Zuse developed the first ever programmable computer, the Z3. It weighed roughly a ton. Up until the 1950s, data was still entered using punch cards. Beginning in the 1970s, powerful processors made computers more common. In 1981, IBM launched the first home computer, the IBM 5150. Soon after, the Apple Macintosh was launched, the first computer with a graphic display. Pretty quickly, the World Wide Web became a mainstream phenomenon. Finally, laptops and then smartphones ushered in the mobile internet era.
Nobody thinks about the fact that the iPhone is a technological device because it's something we use every day. It's become a companion in our everyday social life.
One reason for this is how products are designed. Over the decades, computers have become smaller and more portable, but also more colorful. Apple turned computers into lifestyle products and status symbols when it launched machines in brightly colored casings in the 1990s. And it revolutionized the way humans and machines interact when it released the iPhone and iPad.
Meines Erachtens geht es Design einfach auch noch viel weiter, weil
I think design should progress even further. Right now, we still need to learn to use these devices. We're not used to typing, clicking, or tapping. Instead, we're more used to gesticulating, speaking, and listening. So I think designs will progress in that direction.
Increasingly, we're witnessing the fusion of human bodies and technology. Wearables represent a growth market. Smartwatches and fitness trackers measure our pulse, how far we've walked, and how many calories we've burned. Smartphone apps allow us to analyze the data, and Lina Vassong thinks this is just the beginning.
It would be great to see wearables and fashion tech respond to our physical needs. So that, for example, in winter, our clothes would recognize when we're cold and switch on the heating.
ja, schaltet die Heizung an.
The computer has revolutionized the way we work and play. No other device has changed our lives so profoundly.
And finally, it's time to round off the show and take a trip to the island of Jersey, located some 25 kilometers off the French coast in the English Channel. Well, Jersey is the largest of the Channel Islands with a population of about 98,000. It's famous for its high-quality food products, so we headed there to try out some of the local delicacies like black butter and apple brandy that make the island so special.
The vista of sandy beaches framed by rough cliffs is typical of Jersey's coast. Here on the largest of the Channel Islands, the pace of life is leisurely. Overlooking the harbour of Gorey is Montorgueil Castle, a Jersey landmark. For centuries, the fortress was considered impregnable. Another historic spot is Vincent Aubard's estate, Samara's Manor. It boasts one of the most diverse herb gardens in Europe. Some parts of the manor house are open to the public too. Along with the estate, Vincent Aubard inherited the title of Signor, a feudal lord. The island is officially ruled by Elizabeth II, not in her capacity as Queen of Britain, but as head of the Duchy of Normandy, because Jersey is actually independent of Britain. A complicated situation, as even the Signor admits. He has to smile about some of his hereditary privileges.
I used to have the right to shoot rabbits on Mount Regent. My wife, if she had a child, had the right to be taken to church for a churching ceremony on a horse to be provided by the priest. All these things are very obscure, but they are rights and privileges that were attached to the manor.
The island is lush and green thanks to frequent rain. But the climate is mild, an ideal combination for passionate gardeners like Judith Carey. Organised chaos is what she calls her garden, which is open to visitors.
I try to make the garden very natural, and so that we're very much thinking about the environment that we live in and how it fits into the valley, and also trying to cater really for the lots of bees and the different insects and the different birds.
Despite the garden not being very large, it contains 2,500 different plants, including numerous rare species. Judith Carey's garden is indeed an award-winning attraction. And so no wonder it's a popular place for tourists. Many of them even take a few gardening tips back home with them. Among the more exotic island dwellers are the golden lion tamarin monkeys at the Durrell Wildlife Park. This zoo focuses on rare, endangered, and adorable species. It was founded more than 50 years ago and now boasts 132 species from across the world. Only a few of the animals will be released into the wild, but the park also serves as a training centre for conservationists.
We want 10 generations and 10 generations with the exponential growth of every generation before we can consider we're actually succeeding. Oftentimes it's a decade before you even start to see results, but we're in it for the long haul, definitely.
This megabat, called Livingstone's flying fox, is one example. There were less than 100 specimens left when the naturalist and park founder Gerard Durrell brought some of the animals to Jersey. Today, the population has increased to over 10,000. It's a success story that the conservationists hope could be repeated for gorillas. The wildlife park has done much to help the species survive. Nowadays, guests can also spend the night in the park. Visitors sleep in comfortable tents with a safari feeling, a place to have sweet dreams of further adventures on the Channel Island of Jersey.
And that brings us to the end of another Euromaxx Highlights. Glad you could join us, and until we meet again, goodbye from all of us here in Berlin.